One world currency.
The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole here on the Orion Talk Radio Network, oriontalkradio.com. Hour number 2, I'm going to dedicate to a fellow radio show host here on Orion and an all-around lovely lady who was raided by the tyrannical federal government today, and that would be our own Dr. Carpenter. And she was, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, the tyrannical jackboots came to get her. And, I mean, the charges, what they told her anyway, is just ridiculous. So I want to get into it. Dr. C, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And let's get right into, I guess, the meaty details so people can hear what happened. The FDA raided your office today. Now, when I say raid, some people would, I guess, right off the bat, because of what's been going on, they would think SWAT teams and stuff. There weren't any guns or anything like that involved, correct?
They might have had hidden guns, but they didn't take them out. Okay. They just, I don't know if they had him or not. He did not, obviously.
That's good. If they didn't come in brandishing firearms in your face, that's at least good. So what happened? You guys showed up for work today?
We had an appointment for a patient to come in for treatment, and this patient had a schedule way back and then changed her mind. It supposedly was a woman. But we had communication through supposedly her nephew. And then didn't show up, and then we made an appointment for last month, and then didn't show up. They rescheduled for this month, and last week we rescheduled again for this week. And yesterday called and said if they were good, we were okay on track with the appointment. And then at the time the patient was showing, I was in the treatment room, and Wendy was in the reception area because they need to fill some paperwork. And I don't know what happened. They came in, and I don't know what they said to her, but then they came into the room, and I saw 8 men coming in the room with these black clothes, and some had the mark police, and the other had some logo. I didn't pay attention to it, what it was, but said U.S. something. And then I realized much later that it was FDA. But basically, they said that they were coming in to check out the place. Okay, I said, what do you mean, what now? When I saw the word police, I said, what now? Because we have been harassed so much. I said, what do they want now? And then they said, well, we have to look in the place, around the place and find out things. They didn't say they were going to take anything. They said we have to find out and look around.
Did they produce a warrant for you guys? Because by law, they're supposed to give you guys a copy of the warrant.
And later they gave me this piece of paper. They didn't read it to me, and I didn't really read it. He had it in his hand. That's all. Okay? And then before he left, he gave it to me, but he never read it. Okay? But he started looking around, and I said, well, you better hurry up because I have a patient coming in at 1.
And this was the FDA, correct? This was
yes, it turned out to be FDA, okay?
Badge-carrying agents of the FDA.
Yeah, but they didn't show me any badges. They just it's something.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to break in, but apparently they showed them to Wendy on the other side.
Okay, they didn't show it to me. Okay.
Okay, so they ended up flashing some sort of fake costume jewelry badge like they usually do. Okay, go on, Doc.
But I said, you better hurry up because I have a patient, and they said there is no patient coming in. What do you mean there is no patient coming in? No, that was not a patient. That's just it was us. I said you lied.
Entrapment.
And misrepresented yourself, and they said, well, we wanted to make sure because you're not here all the time. We want to make sure that you were here and everything was here. You didn't take anything out, and
you said you had this actually when I was talking to you off air. This goes back to a consultation that actually came in a couple months, last year sometime. So that was probably them coming in and checking you guys out. Like sending.
Right, but then nothing came out of it, and they came in, and I thought that the questioning was kind of strange because they didn't have enough detail of the condition of this supposed aunt. Okay, so it's a lie all along, and they're attacking me for lying, and they lie. Oh, their lies are justified, mine are not. See, the one that they claim are lies, which are not, they're truth. But whatever I say is not justified. Their lies are. So I thought, what do you mean? There isn't. And then they started taking me in another room to ask questions and started ransacking the room where I was, the treatment room, and they were asking stupid questions, and some of the comments were really dumb, like they say, okay, you are giving false hope to desperate people. No, I do not.
Just like a parrot.
Yeah.
Well, let's explain really quick because we got a few minutes before we go to break. In a nutshell, what Dr. C does is she runs Lase Med Inc. and they treat certain forms, not all, but certain forms of cancer. They have a treatment using lasers that they can kill the tumor with. And it's only certain types of cancers, not every one, and they don't advertise and act like they can kill every type of cancer. And I've seen them get attacked by trolls that are supposedly out there for cancer victims and all this other stuff. And I can tell you, look, my mother died of lung cancer, and I don't have any ill will towards Dr. C at all. If she can help somebody survive or not go through what my mother went through, now, obviously, she can't do lung cancer, but she can fight other forms. So if she can at least stop this some sort of cancer, then I support her. Now, it's not crap. It's not baloney. There's a lot of alternative treatments out there that get pushed under the rug because the only treatment they want is for you to go get injected, $8,000 a shot with chemo. Now,
$8,000 a shot. That's a copay. The full price is $30,000 a shot now.
Well, that's disgusting. That is just absolutely disgusting when they know that there's things out there like your treatment. There's been other things. Look at Rick Simpson. Okay, what he does with hemp oil. But all that stuff, all that has to get hushed up. You can't talk about any of that. You can't talk about any alternative to other than big pharma's crap. And you guys,
Rockefeller.
Well, yeah, because again, that's who funds a lot of this crap. You guys have been, and I have to say this to the listeners so they understand.
And the hospital in Little Rock behind all of this is the Rockefeller Cancer Center.
Well, there you go. See, and again, you guys have been attacked on a professional level. When I say a professional level, I mean the trolls that go after you are not like. There's no way that they could have another job other than going after you because there's too much time spent. There's too much time spent being focused on you for this person to not be being reimbursed somehow for the time spent. It's either that or the person,
Works a part-time job.
One of the specific people doing it. It's either it's a part-time job for them, or they're just that insane that they stalk you guys like that. Either way, it's not what it appears to be. We got a break coming up. When we come back on the other side, I want to get into. You were saying that they tried to level, obviously false charges and stuff against you. So I want you to be able to get into that and tell the listeners what you guys have been going through for a while. So I'm going to cut us off right there. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be right back in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. So we were talking during the break, and the Phantom of the Radio Network himself, Jimmy X, popped in for a second. He brought up a good question, and I actually made Dr. C pause with her response because I wanted the people to hear it. So I'm gonna ask the question again, Doc, and then I'm gonna let you go ahead and answer it. Jimmy brought up the fact that if you look at what you're going through, you're being targeted for alternative therapies. Other people doing alternative therapies are targeted. Yet you don't see people that are doling out this chemotherapy, the injections, the shots, which slowly kill people. You're just destroying their system with these chemicals. How come these people with the quote unquote standard methodologies, how come they're running around free and they're actually killing more people and causing more harm than people like you trying alternative methods and that don't poison people and that are they directly go after the cancer itself rather than destroying the entire body?
Well, for one thing, my patients do not die. If they follow the guideline of the treatment, what you do after the treatment, which only requires to ignore the cancer and just take just take some type of supplement that will help eliminate the dead tissue. That's all you need to. Speed up the healing process by eliminating faster the dead tissue. That's all you have to do. If they follow that, they're fine. Years later, nothing. They don't have any problem. The tumor lingers because it takes a long time to remove the dead tissue. But that is just a normal process. But other than that, they do not suffer and do not die. On the other hand, during the healing process, some patients are affected by the relative that say, oh, whoa, but the tumor is still there. You still have cancer. Or people that pressure them, oh, go and check. Go and check. And we tell them what type of testing they can do and what type of testing is misleading. They go see an oncologist. They only do the testing that are actually misleading, like the PET scan, the MRI, and the biopsy. They do not apply to the case of tumor killed by hyperthermia. They do not apply. So they use those, and they come back, oh, the PET scan, it says a spread. That's an inflammation because the PET scan only sees an inflammation. And, of course, during the healing process, you have an inflammation. So they say you still have cancer, and they pump it with chemo and radiation, and they die. And then what they do, they turn around. They did not die of chemo radiation. They did die of the treatment from Lase and Dr. Carpenter. That's why they died. It's her. You take poison after my treatment, and you die, and it's my treatment that did it. And the evidence is that all the people that had nothing after our treatment are fine. Now, chemo is advertised as 25% effective, which is a lie because it's not that effective.
That's still a horrible rate. I mean,
because it means
if I had an efficacy rate of if I had an efficacy rate of 25% at my job, I would be fired. You know what I mean? If I would
out of work,
you would be out of work. They'd be like, you're only 25% productive. You're out of here. Yet or I shouldn't say we, the Rockefeller foundations, these controlled groups through the Rockefeller family. And Big Pharma push out this, this is the answer to everything, putting this crap into your veins. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, my mother died of lung cancer, and they gave her chemo. And the chemo didn't do anything for her. And I've heard people say, well, the cancer was too far gone by that point.
Yeah, that's usually excuses, Yeah,
exactly. But I can tell you what, the chemo destroyed her worse than anything else.
Right. And also, once the body's destroyed, the cancer runs rampant, and so they die a lot faster. I keep saying, now, you should do something, and you should really come to a treatment that is the best choice you can have. The things I cannot handle, they should go for standard photodynamic therapy or radiofrequency ablation, one of the two, but never, never, never. I don't do those. Other people do, but I never, never, never go for chemo radiation. Because if you do absolutely nothing, you can live a decent life for 10 years. With chemo radiation, you don't live that long. So think about that.
Yeah, see, I think that the chemo actually did my mother worse. I mean, her body started to shut down, and I mean, in the end, the cancer spread. But a lot of that, we know that our immune system fights it off.
That's another thing about spreading. What they say is the cancer spread to the liver, okay, or spread to the kidney. That is not cancer spreading. The kidney and the liver are destroyed by chemo.
So it's actually the chemo. I mean, I know this is possible. So the chemo actually does, you know, from the way I look at it, and from what I know you said, the chemo pretty much beats the crap out of the body, beats the crap out of the immune system, and then it's not up to par to fight. It's like if you take a prize fighter and have him jumped by 10 guys with pipes and bats, and then put him in the ring with his opponent, and people are surprised when he loses because you know he's already beat up and bloody and black and blue from getting hit with pipes and bats.
And another thing, you were mentioning the Rockefeller Foundation, the one in Little Rock. I don't know in other city, but in Little Rock was supported by Winthrop Rockefeller. Okay, in Little Rock. Do you know what happened to him? He died of cancer.
Karma's a bitch.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, obviously his foundation couldn't do anything for him. Think about it, okay? He died of cancer. And because he put his money in the wrong thing, because all they're doing is taking money in and not doing anything at all, pretending to be stupid research, and then, of course, like in this case, suppress anybody that has spent 28 years of our life bringing this up without making any money in the process. And now I'm actually saving people, and they're jumping on my case, including the price I charge, which is...
Is that one of the things? Is that one of the things they said to you today, Doc? The agents they were busting your chops about that. They said you charge too much.
Yeah.
First of all, let me ask you this: who the hell are they to tell you how much to charge? I mean, since when does the FDA set prices on things?
They decide what's my expenses. I mean, I have overhead. Well, you don't have to have an office. You can offer this in your house. Oh, you want to offer in an office because you want to show an appearance of validity to the patient? It has to be a sterile environment, you moron. You know, I mean, I didn't say moron, but that was implied. Okay.
You think Obamacare is going to cut into Big Pharma's profits?
Okay, and the drug company, they charge $30,000 per injection of chemo, and you go on for months. Okay, $30,000.
It's horrible. And when you see people when they go get it, and then they're sick for days on end,
and then even they get black nails. Not only losing their hairs to turn brown because they've been poisoned.
You're poisoning your whole body with that crap.
Right. And it doesn't do anything anyway, because the 25% is not true. It's a lot less than that.
Well, you know, they know that they cause cancer with half the crap that they put in the foods today, the vaccines and everything else that they do to people.
They know that because they want to keep people sick, incapable of understanding what is really going on around them, and steal all their money. People have worked all their lives to have a savings for their retirement, and they steal it. Just like they stole my money. They want to use it to stay open, and they don't want me to stay open. Even the trolls on the web that supposedly are not connected with all of this disgruntled patients. They say...
No, see, more than half the time, that's people that are paid to do that stuff. I mean, back in the day when you used to say stuff like this, if somebody brought up trolls being paid, people would tell you you're crazy. And now it's actually pretty well known that people are like that. We got a break coming up, so I'm going to cut us off right there. Ladies and gentlemen, when we get back, I want to get into how we can help Dr. Carpenter. We need to get her on as many shows as possible. We need to get this exposed to the light of day. So we're going to get into that more when I come back. Don't go anywhere. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And what I'm going to ask everybody to do is I'm going to make a call to action for Dr. Carpenter. Any radio show host, blog talk, podcast host, anything, anybody interested in having her on, we need to put light on this issue. You guys can contact her, and if anybody knows a good attorney, or if there's an attorney that hears this and might be able to help pro bono, because during the raid they took everything, including any money that they had in the safe. So, there's a lot of things that are tied up as quote-unquote evidence, and we all know the government won't give that back for at least 6 months to a year, and it'll take forever and a day of a lawyer putting his foot down to even get it back. So Dr. C really needs a helping hand. And I forgot to let everybody know before that Randy was hanging out with us. And Randy, I completely forgot.
That's all right.
I was just trying. I was focused on helping Dr. C. So
yeah, there's so much that she has to say. I wasn't actually there when it happened. I picked it up secondhand. But
do you guys have an email or something that people can email you guys, at least set up interviews, or if somebody knows anybody that can give you guys some legal help or whatever, where they can get in touch with you guys?
Sure. They can go to lasemedinc.com. That's LASEMEDINC.com, just like the radio commercial that you hear between the segments. And there's contact info on the website. You can send it to Dr. Carpenter, Dr. Carpenter at lasemedinc.com. Dr. Carpenter run together with no caps or underscores.
All right.
Or Wendy at lasemedinc.com.
Right, or Wendy at lasemedinc.com.
All right, and again, anybody that's interested in getting Dr. C on as a guest, so she can talk about this. Anybody that is willing to help them out, email.
This just happened today, see, and everything is it's been like a kind of a whirlwind since they got back this afternoon, because I contacted some people. I contacted Jimmy, and
Jimmy put the word out to us, and he said,
"Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you." But he contacted you and Joe Joseph tomorrow night. We're going to be on his show, and so we really haven't had a time to sit back and okay, now what,
Yeah, we are going to set up something for donation, because, as I said, all the money was taken. We don't have anything. We don't have any way to stay open. We don't have any way to survive other than and deal with everyday problems so we can stay open. And I don't know how, because they took the lasers, but we're going to figure out something. And we just need some help.
We don't even sell banner ad space on our website.
No, but you said you can put a button so they can do PayPal donation or something.
Right,
yeah.
we can set PayPal and put buttons.
All right, so for right now, anybody interested in donating or helping out or whatever, just email them, and then within the next day or so, they'll be, I'm sure Randy, anybody that emails them, Randy will contact you, and you guys can go from there. And then within the next day or so, they'll have a thing up that you guys can, if you want to donate through a PayPal button or whatever. Because, I mean, this stuff's important. Unfortunately, that's how they do things. They make it so that first they take all your money, and then they make it so that you have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars in legal fees. So if there's actually somebody out there like an attorney that's able to help pro bono and specializes in cases, I actually wouldn't even begin to know or pretend to try to even know what this would actually fall under.
Civil rights.
Yeah, I guess civil rights, maybe Constitution, whatever. I wouldn't know, but there's got to be somebody out there that knows and that can help you guys. And I hope that between this show, Joe's show, and all these other shows that you did a couple other shows today, and however many you do over the course of the next week or so, I hope that somebody picks up the ball and runs with it and helps you out. So, Randy, one more time, and give out those email addresses, both of them, one more time.
Yeah, sure. That be Dr. Carpenter at lasemedinc.com, Dr. Carpenter, run together, at lasemedinc.com, or Wendy at lasemedinc.com. And I got to say this, though, because when you were talking about donation, PayPal, things like that, one of the things that's so ironic about this is the trolls. Again, always back to the trolls, the stinking trolls. For 2 years, they created this image of this rich, Crazy Bob with his crazy webpage. He's got videos now with pictures of Phyllis Diller with gold diamonds on, and trying to paint her to be some just millionaire, filthy, stinking millionaire. And now look at what's happened, And it was never like that.
I always barely made it. It was always...
And it was mainly because of your fingernails. Somebody didn't like the fact that you had long fingernails, and oh my God.
Well, see that, but that's perception.
That's just petty bull.
Well, that's perception too. A lot of times, and then there's a lot of things that come into play. But see, if people don't, a lot of people make assumptions, and you know what they say about assumptions. It's the mother of all F-ups.
Yeah, but the thing is that in this case, they were using any excuse to slander. See, that's a different thing. Any excuse. They know perfectly well because my ex is helping them, so they know perfectly well. Then I don't have any money. That's why they try to take the...
Well, yeah, they try to make straw man arguments is what they do.
And the other thing, I don't know if we even mentioned it. I mentioned it on Howard's show before, but that now Dr. Carpenter's got to make a couple of phone calls and tell some people that your appointment's been canceled. And, I mean, can you imagine that phone call?
Well, yeah, well, that's a good point. What about the patients you guys have? Obviously, there are a few patients at least coming to see you. So what happens to them? Now you have to call these people in the middle of their treatments for their illness, and they have to be told, hey, guess what? The federal government says that you can't have this now.
Yeah. And they know some of them years ago expected, and then they say, I better come out there as soon as possible before they close you down. I remember the husband of a patient saying that. We need to come before they close you down. But, they couldn't really... First they try to enforce the thing of the court in Arkansas. I fought that, so they tried something else because it was illegal. So what they come up with a sense of FDA, like it was an FDA violation. It's not an FDA violation at all. It's just excuses to stop the competition because that competes with Big Pharma.
Aren't they trying to say that you gave out drugs too, and you didn't give out any drugs? You actually gave out a herbal supplement. It was like a tea, and it was an FDA-approved thing?
It's just an FDA-approved herbal extract. It's not a tea to drink. I just inject it into the tumor because that changes the color of the tumor, so the tumor will absorb the light.
I'm sorry. It's a thermal reaction. Everything they do is based on a chemical reaction.
The tumor will absorb the light, and the healthy tissue won't, because the healthy tissue won't retain a water-based thing. And the tumor dies. But only the tumor, nothing else. There is nothing toxic. And the substance, people can drink it. So
okay, that's why I thought it was a tea. So what exactly is the substance called, so people know?
It's actually black walnut green hull extract. So,
and it's FDA approved, obviously, for human consumption.
Yeah. People can drink it. You buy
So again, this is a typical government agency overstepping, being used as a thug agency, like, almost like the sheriff of Nottingham, in the story of Robin Hood. It's that kind of thuggery. That's the same thing.
Only this is 2,000 years later, almost. Not 2,000, but close. This is the 21st century, and this is the United States, which is not supposed to do these things. And they're happening. Why? Because of Big Pharma. Do they go and close down Glasgow Smith & Kline that has been fined $3 billion? Do they close them down? No. They've been killing people forever. They produce the drug Avandia that is for diabetes and cause a heart problem and kills people with heart. So people don't die of diabetes, they die of heart attack. And they've used it for years and years, and people have died. And there are a lot of other drugs people have died from, and FDA didn't do anything about it, including the breast cancer drug Avastin. It was, the approval of FDA was recalled. They're still using it. Doctors are still prescribing it. Do they close them down? No. and it has killed thousands and thousands of people in 14 years. But
it's disgusting. It's all about money, and a lot of it's also about control and killing off the population. You need to keep people sick. All right, we're going to get cut off. Ladies and gentlemen, final segment coming up. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back in a few minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Final segment. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight and listening. Again, the listeners are an integral part of this. As you can see, I decided to the first hour we talked about guns and stuff, and it was a good point brought to me by a listener who said, look, I don't own a gun yet. I'm a first-time buyer. I'm looking into it. Could you, do maybe at least a piece or a segment or something about guns? And I will do actually more in the future. If people want more stuff, you can ask me for specifics, and we can get into certain things. I can maybe I could do a couple segments on different self-defense tactics, videos to watch about how to use your weapon in a tactical manner. There's tons of stuff. So I don't want to get too much off on a tangent, but that's the effect that one email from a listener can have. So everybody, you are an integral part of this show. I thank you for tuning in, no matter how you do, whether it's live, in the archives, YouTube videos, however you do it. I want to say thank you, and I love you all. Okay, Randy, I want to get into the level of harassment that you guys have been dealing with here in the last few minutes. But before we do, I want you to give shameless plugs. I want you to give everything out. The websites, the Facebooks, the Twitters, the YouTubes, anything, emails, anything, go.
Okay. Main website would be lasemedinc.com, LASEMEDINC.com, medicalconspiracy.com, spelled like it sounds. We have links to the Facebook, Twitter accounts on both of these, but Facebook would be facebook.com/pages/LaseMedInc or /The Medical Conspiracy Radio Show with dashes between the words. We've also got links up there to blogs of Dr. Carpenter's. She's got themedicalconspiracy.wordpress.com. She's got LaseMedInc disinfowarning.blogspot.com. We've got LaseMedInc and Barbara Hartwell.blogspot.com. And of course, we've got youtube.com/user/LaseMedInc. And the Barbara Hartwell blog is fairly new. We decided Barbara has been just so wonderful making articles every week, it seems like, about what's been going on, because as she has come on our radio show on Saturdays, they have in turn attacked her, and
now she's being attacked, and she's not the real Barbara Hartwell. I heard some of this.
And see, that's how I first heard, and then I said, "Hey, Dr. C, come on, you listen, you got to hear this." She was on Against the Wall with JJ, and I said, "Listen to this lady," and she was talking about the COINTELPRO tactic, and we both, Dr. Carpenter and I, looked at each other, and we just, Michelle, that was the first word out of our mouth. But we got in touch with her, and she became just intrigued with everything that was going on, and so sort of became a regular guest on the show. She already had her own trolls following her, and have been following her for 10 years or more. I don't know how long it's been, but because at one point she was involved with Ted Gunderson and did a lot of public appearances with him. Then something happened, and Ted Gunderson turned out to be actually a COINTELPRO himself. And I wasn't there, but this is what I've gathered from it. And then a bunch of trolls were set after her to discredit her as a CIA disinformant. And And by
the way, I haven't seen all the evidence myself, but I have heard the theory, and I have seen some evidence to support it, that Gunderson wasn't as great of a guy as everybody would think he was. Not that he didn't bring some certain things to light, but to back you up, I have seen like even just in his mannerisms when he first started coming out and talking, and he would be like, well, the FBI under Hoover wasn't corrupt or anything. But, well, come on, Ted. Anybody that's as smart as you that investigates the things that you know about ought to know how corrupt the FBI is right off the bat. So, and in his later years, he did admit that the FBI was corrupt, but it was he still kind of lived in denial that it was corrupt when he was in, or so.
Yeah, and I think all of these, if they are COINTELPRO, I think they all have to have a certain element of truth in everything that they say. But what else is there? So well, true. I mean,
like
someone
again,
we talked about during the break.
He might have actually brought some good stuff out, Randy, but you never know. Which I mean, like the stuff about the Satanism and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. That's what got my attention. That's what
exactly. But like you said, sometimes they'll throw you a bone or whatever, and maybe they, being ex-FBI, he might have known how the FBI was going to handle it in the future anyway, and come out and say that satanic ritual abuse doesn't even exist, and that it's then come out with the false memory foundation and all this other crap.
Right.
So you never know. He might have known that.
Post we talked about that he brings a lot of important things out, but he also has an agenda.
Well, very true. And sometimes it's ego. Sometimes people and who knows? Maybe he wasn't disinfo, but maybe it was his own ego about certain things. Maybe he just refused to believe certain things, and that's how people are controlled too. By the way, someone that knows social engineering would understand that as to be someone's weakness, and they would exploit that in whatever way they possibly could.
Sure.
So, I mean, he's dead now, so I mean, it's kind of hard to gauge the level of whether or not he really was sincere with everything he did or not. But I've had people that have said that he's turned people in, for certain things, or accused people of things, and called either the police or the federal agents on, the FBI or whoever on somebody. I don't remember the exact story right off the top of my head, but the point is the level that these people go through, when I say these people, the trolls that are attacking you guys. I mean, look, Barbara Hartwell, she has her own trolls. She comes on your show and starts getting attacked. And now she's a troll. And now she's not the real Barbara Hartwell. I mean, and they make like a huge farce out of it. And this is done for a multitude of reasons. One, to an outsider, Dr. C and you and anybody else at Lase Med Inc. look like a bunch of a-holes, to somebody that might come up on it and see what's going on. But at the other side, it also gets people who don't believe it and maybe want to fight it and stand up for you guys or whatever, even if it's a listener, it gets them so busy that they're not focusing their eye on the ball.
Right, and it gets them confused, right, disoriented. And then the trolls will actually contact people that are in contact with us, and they started contacting people that are known contacts with Barbara's.
Well, really quick, because we got a few minutes left.
Okay.
Tell the level that you guys went through. Like didn't they at one point they had some of your neighbors spying on you? They actually found out where you guys lived, and they had your neighbors spying on you?
Yeah, we still get dirty looks all the time. It's not even funny. We had about a year ago, this lady next door, I won't call her a lady, but female next door, showed up on the front porch one day screaming bloody murder. I know what you are. The whole neighborhood knows what you are. We don't want you here. And I'm like, what the hell? And it didn't take me 30 seconds to figure out that she'd been contacted by this Michelle creature. And about a week later, two other neighbors came over, two men, and one not screaming at me, but trying to get me to take a swing or something. It's obviously what he was trying to do, because he had the Medical Conspiracy Facebook page all printed up, and he was waving it in my face. So you don't have the right to say stuff like this, boy. And he had another guy with him, probably as a witness, because they were going to try to get me to flip out so they could call the cops and get me arrested for I don't know what. But I mean, they were on my property. They were standing on my front porch. But that's bringing this to a whole new level, Randy.
Strangers,
this woman in Georgia calling up strangers because she went to the effort of finding our street address and then finding the street address and phone number of people around us.
Yeah, but Barbara said that's standard COINTELPRO method.
It is. She's correct. See, this is why I say that this is not just someone who's pissed at you or whatever. or just trolls saying, "Oh, that Dr. Carpenter, she's a nutbag," or whatever. No, because the level that they're going
it's organized.
That's what I'm saying. It's too organized, and it has to be funded. The level that they're going to is just, it's beyond even what someone who was stalking you guys would.
And we got 1 minute. I meant to bring this up. We've got 1 minute. A big part of this, as far as what's happened today, and what happened a couple of weeks ago, the legal aspects being brought back up, and the government being sicked on her. For about a month and a half now, we've had a series of videos on YouTube called "The Truth Rises to the Top," where Dr. Carpenter said, "Okay, that's it. I'm getting the legal papers. I'm getting the court documents. I'm getting the medical records here to prove what I've been saying, and we're going to make scans of them. We're going to put them up there on YouTube to show the lies." And oh my God. Each one of those videos had to be edited like 5 times because apparently we couldn't say certain names.
Yeah, I know. Every time you did, you kept getting copyright strikes and everything else.
Yeah,
you kept calling, hit me up on Skype and saying, "Dude." it would be like, ladies and gentlemen, it would be one video, and it would be 5 different times Randy would edit it and upload it, and they would find some reason or another to screw with him and tell him he couldn't have it up there. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah, so, youtube.com/user/LaseMedInc. Check them out. A lot of info in there.
Well, Randy, Dr. Carpenter, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Thank you, Popeye.
I hope I was able to help you guys. And ladies and gentlemen, again, if you're out there, anybody with that's a host, email them, contact them, help them out. Thanks for tuning in tonight. I'll see you all again Friday. We're all out of here.